It's 5 o'clock and we will begin the workshop for the December 29th, 2011 meeting. Tonight we do have a citizens forum and we will begin with Miss Melissa Holder.
Hello, Mayor and Aldermen. We are just coming back out to kind of readdress the greenway, or the fence, not necessarily the greenway. It's already done and it looks beautiful. But the fence that we had talked about previously to go along our property and the parking area, the walkway. Some issues that came up while the greenway was being done is that a survey had been done of our property, and we were told that our current fence line is actually on city property. And we just want to let you guys know that we do know that, and that we would still like to talk about putting up a fence, that we still feel like that it's important for our safety and security of our family to have something from the road all the way down. We would even like to possibly even see something across the back of our properties back there. So moving the fence, we're willing to do whatever it takes, to move it. But we do realize that it's going to cut through what is our current driveway, and we'll have to move our fence line. So we're okay with that. Basically, we're just here to ask, what do we need to do from here? Where do we need to go? Who do we need to talk to?
Well, of course, right here, this is not a place that we need to discuss that. But I'll be honest with you, we have discussed it with the attorneys, we've discussed it with our engineering, we've discussed it with something, and right now it's not in the budget for the fencing. I mean, I'll just be honest with you, we've also talked over with the police. They think that putting any type of fencing up was going to be worse than it not being there, because it's blocking the views. But we can certainly get together with Bruce. We can meet with Kyle, and we can certainly look at the issues. Alderman Roper, I know you had initially brought this up. But as it stands right now, that is not in the budget.
Okay.
Just to be perfectly honest.
I would just really, really stress the idea that when the greenway first came out, before anything was done, before it was approved, we came to the board with our concerns, and we were promised right here in this room that, you guys would do everything you could to get a fence put up. I can't understand a police officer saying that a fence isn't going to bring security and safety. I mean, we have a chain link fence up right now. All we're asking for is a taller chain link fence.
Okay, well, we were thinking about the privacy fence.
Right. All we're asking for up front from the road, basically where the parking area is, we're just asking for something that just divides so that people realize that our yard is our yard, that it's not a parking area, it's not an area to walk through. I mean, that's all we're asking for. We're not asking for, millions of dollars to be spent on improvements to our yard. I realize that that's just ridiculous. We're just asking basically just for peace of mind, just so that I can feel secure allowing my children to play in the backyard, which they did before the greenway was there. And then the city came in and put a greenway in. And I know you guys haven't been to my house, but you can't see our backyard. I mean, there's nowhere that I can sit unless I sit right out the back, look straight out the back window. And just to have that peace of mind that no one can reach over and pull my children out. That's just really my biggest concern.
Mayor, would it be appropriate? There are some issues that came up as far as, again, they found out that their fencing and their shed was on city property. There's some things that they're willing to resolve. I think 4 or 5 months ago we did say to them that we would revisit the issue at the end of the greenway. Whomever it be, maybe Kyle, myself, whomever it be, get with them over the next month and maybe put it on the agenda for a discussion next month, and again, see where we're at. I mean, if we're talking something astronomical, then, you know, again, the board can vote whatever, but if I think what they're asking for is basically so people are not walking across their front yard to get down to this greenway. It's just my feeling that we did promise them 4 months ago that we would. Wherever the vote goes then, I think it's something that we should at least give that consideration. So,
I mean, we can put it on the agenda for next month for discussion. Okay.
Thank you.
Bruce, did you write that and put it
I
on?
wrote it down.
Okay. All right. Miss Sandra Whitney.
Okay, hi, Mayor Mosley. I've talked to you a couple times. Okay, my concern, I'm one of the houses on the back of the greenway that you guys just put up. Our concern, me and my husband, is privacy, trespassing. Our fence is very low. I think it's a 4-footer, and it has a gate to it, so which is very accessible for people to come into. I also took a walk out there with my children, my grandchildren, and my daughter, and people are bringing their pets out there, and they're just leaving the feces out there. They're not picking it up. Another neighbor asked me if I came to let you guys know that there is something that I think they have, like these little stands or something that you can put up, and it's accessible for them to get the plastic and, you know, put that there. So she did ask me would I please say that to you guys. There are no lights back there. And I already, from being there, even before the Greenway came, we had children back there smoking, not cigarettes. And I had to go outside and address the issue. And crossing between our neighbors' yards, which we live next door to the Holdens there, we live next door to them, they're going between our gates and antagonizing the dogs, and at night, because it has awakened me. I'm going to do what I can do as far as me and my husband maybe putting up some of the spotlights and things like that. But we're concerned we have a lot of things in our backyard, you know, our porch furniture and different things like that. Well, right now, you can just walk on in and walk on out with it. And I am concerned also about the children, because you have that little creek back there, and there's no sign up to say, at least say, you know, do not go into the creek. There's no sign up there that says you can enter at dawn, but you got to leave at dusk or something. So if the police are called, that, hey, this is what they'll say. Because if we tell these young teenagers to get out, they're going to tell us, it's none of our business, we're not on your property. And I know that they'll be out there playing and doing what they do, because they were doing it a little bit even with, you know, before the Greenway even got there. It's nice. We took the walk. It should be a little longer, but hopefully. But other than that, I'm just really concerned about our safety. And it kind of takes away some of our quality of life, because now it's like, I don't want to go out there like in my, you know, in my robe and have a cup of coffee and sit out there. And someone's walking by like, hey, you know, I don't want to do that. And I'm not going to leave my grandchildren out there. And I have small ones, like 2-year-olds and things like that. So those are our concerns.
I think we both have the same concerns about our children and grandchildren being out there because of what happened and what's happening, and the Greenway being there. It opens up a whole new venue of people to come through our neighborhood that maybe didn't come through before, or being more accessible to the people that do come through there because they walk through the yards. I just don't feel safe with them being out there anymore.
And we would like at least to have a higher fence, something that's higher without a gate. If you guys can put that in your budget or something like that. We did talk, we need to put something between our yards, because there's like a little walkway that my husband and Mr. Holden, they alternate cutting. Well, they're just walking through there now, like, you know, cut across our yard and go straight through, because it comes from my yard to their yard, and then we have like a ditch. So that's what we're dealing with. So if consideration can be given to that, we would really appreciate it. And something really to go up for these children that are going to be back there, especially with the little creek, because that does rise. When we had that flood, they were out in my backyard swimming. Yeah, just straight across with the rest of the things that were going down there. So we'd appreciate your consideration to that. Okay, thank you.
All right, that ends our citizens forum. Now we'll move right into our workshop agenda. I'll have the prayer, and Vice Mayor, you'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. Please review over the minutes. Then we'll have our department reports and presentations for the employee of the month and for December. And we're also going to go, because our employee of the month was sick on December, so we will present that to her this month. And then we'll have our Chiefs Awards. Now we'll go right into our old business. This is second reading, ordinance 2011-31, an ordinance to amend the general fund capital plan by removing the warning system. This is the second reading. Do we have a public hearing on either of these?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All righty. Open it up for discussion.
Nothing's changed since last time, have it? Has
No,
it?
sir.
I don't have no questions.
Any questions? All right. Number 5, second reading, ordinance 2011-32, an ordinance to amend Title I of the Laverne Municipal Code regarding the duties of the mayor and the duties of the city administrator. This is second reading on this as well. Opening up for discussion.
Again, I think there's some misunderstanding of what this is doing. This is basically just giving back to you what is spelled out in the charter already. So this isn't giving you anything additional. Basically, we don't have a city administrator at this time and putting the powers back where they was drawn up. So,
And it's been working really well. We've already been disseminating those duties to the department heads. Fred, the department heads, if there's an issue, they've been dealing with it. I think if they have any other questions, they go to Bruce. Kind of working those out. If there's any situations that need to be addressed, if they're that bad, they go to the city attorney. So. Okay. Any more comments, questions, concerns? Anybody? Is Felicia here? All right, we're going to go on to our consent agenda items. Approve recommendations for city bids and purchases. Bid box for the sewer department, Ms. Felicia.
Oxide, as we all know, is a chemical that we put in there to help with odor and things. And for Metro, we were going to do a test and decided against it. We would just like to stay with Siemens with the bioxide product, a true product. The company that was the lowest didn't have a lot of good feedback when you called the companies that had dealings with them. So we just felt more comfortable staying with Siemens, who we've got a rapport with now.
Okay. Any questions there? Any questions? Okay. And city purchase truck for sewer department.
Now, Jerry Zimlo has been very patient with me.
Okay.
Because he asked for this truck several months ago, and Phyllis and I encouraged him to wait until the funds were in better shape. But this truck is still there. They've come down to 17.9 on it. It may have high mileage, but it seems to be in good shape. He's got $31,000 in his budget for it.
Okay.
And this is the only vehicle he plans to purchase this year.
And that's the
So
only thing that concerns me.
there will be money left.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Go ahead.
170,000 miles on a work truck. That's a lot of miles.
That's
My
one thing
understanding it's
concerns me.
highway
It's-
miles, though.
It's almost 5 years old and it's pushing 170,000. And, you know, last year we had, almost $300,000 worth of fix-its.
You're right, we did.
You know.
Most of those were on the police department cars, though.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, even if this was highway miles, now it's going to be,
I mean, this is
Stop
not
and
like
go
you go
miles.
out and buy. Y'all run your trucks till the wheels run off.
and it's going to be stop and go miles now. It's going to be even harder on it with that many miles. I'm like Alderman Waldron, that's a lot of miles.
Would y'all consider looking for a newer one?
We would at the risk of spending more money, obviously.
Yeah, I know.
You know, kind of saying you at least spin it up front or spin it all along, you know. It's a nice looking truck, don't get me wrong, but that is a lot of miles on a vehicle.
I mean, as long as y'all
But it
keep,
is a good looking truck though.
as long as y'all keep one, I'd rather spend a little more and get something newer, probably in better shape.
Why don't we pull this off as a single item? How about that? And,
I would rather see us buy a newer one with less miles
I
myself,
mean,
but
how long has it been since we bought a truck in the sewer department? I
we did
mean,
buy one last year, and he has put that one into a service truck.
Yeah, that's right,
The truck that,
quarter ton? what?
3/4 ton, it is being used as a service truck now. He needs another service truck.
Okay.
So we do need to look at something. Well, so if y'all would prefer, we can,
Let's see if we can find something a little newer.
I can
And,
contact.
You know,
some people.
within reason. I mean, we're not gonna spend no 30 or 40,000 for it, but, I mean, or 40 or 50,000.
With me, the year's not really the issue,
It's the
the miles, the miles.
Yeah.
You know, the 90, was it 2008? If 2008, if it had 34,000 miles, or maybe 75,000 miles, but
69.
It's 169,000
Yeah,
miles
that's-
on it, yes, sir.
That's,
That's sort of the time we need to start getting rid of them, my opinion.
I have to agree.
We're okay with that.
But it is a good-looking truck, though.
So let's see what else we can do. We pulled it off of the consent.
You want to leave it on the agenda at all?
I think we,
You have
can
time?
no?
Can we have, 30 days to bring you back another proposal?
Well, yeah.
We'll
Right.
be ready in 30 days.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So just take it off completely?
We can pull this one off, and then next
Okay.
month I will have you another one.
Okay.
Hopefully with a whole lot less miles.
Okey-doke.
I
All
believe
right.
that's all I have on there.
That's all you have? All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Felicia. All right. Approve a professional service agreement with Lausch Associates for surveying services, engineering design, and construction administration for the Safe Routes to School Sidewalk Project. Kyle, is that you?
Mayor and Board, this is the agreement we entered in with the state for the Safe Routes to Schools. I think we received a grant. I think the grant may have been in '09 or real late '09, maybe early 2010. But we entered into an agreement September 23rd, 2010. We've got 2 years to complete it. So that's going to be, September this coming year. And this is going to be the, as it says, the surveying, engineering design, and construction administration. And this is a 100% grant, so the city would not be paying anything. However, it's 100% of how they've got it allocated in the agreement. They do not have anything in the agreement pertaining to surveying, so that $2,000 would have to come from the city. But the $88,480 and the $2,118, what the Lowe's and Associates did was they matched what was in the agreement instead of coming up with a new number, which I'm sure they probably would have wanted to do a little bit more on design or get paid more, but they just chose to, match what was in the grant. Now, it does have, on the construction administration, it includes 6 site visits. And if the state changes their mind and says it's going to take more than that, or, that would be on an hourly basis. So that could be something that costs us extra money too. But that's something that we'll have to look into. And a lot of this more than likely will be probably the next budget cycle whenever we decide or get ready to do the construction. So if there is any overages that we think we're going to run into after they get it designed, that's something that we could probably put into the budget at that time, and we'll know that the money's there. As opposed to, so right now it's looking like $2,000 is the overage that you're looking at.
And everybody understands this is from Anna Gannon? I think
Yes,
Anna
I
Gannon?
believe it's Anna Gannon to Sand Hill Road.
Yes.
That'll be sidewalks, but then there's some crosswalks that are, there's one at Sand Hill Road, and I think there's one at Anna Gannon. There's different little locations that they're talking about doing some, in the grant application, it was talking about doing crosswalks, so it's kind of, after we get it designed, we'll figure out how much money we do have and where we can put the money and how much we can do on these crosswalks and where we have to have them at. This is just basically just to get started is what this is for.
Have any questions? Questions? All right. Moving right along. Approve online auction of surplus city vehicles and equipment. Who has that one?
This is kind of a grouping of two different departments, mostly Parks and Recreation. I think there's 13 items total that they have listed. One of those is a vehicle, and then there's 3 items from the Sewer Department that are listed, and 2 of those are surplus city vehicles. Following the page with the list are pictures of each item, just so you can kind of see what we're looking at. And this is at the request of Parks and Rec and Sewers.
My only question, the 2 trucks from sewer that's got light bars, do the light bars still work?
No, the light bars have been taken to the streets department.
Okay.
Instead of pushing, they've been taken off that truck. Instead of purchasing light bars, we kept them in use for the street department.
I have a question on that shed. We were needing some storage here, because ours back here is full. Do we have somewhere we could put one of those for storage?
Well, I'm not sure on the condition of those sheds either.
Are they,
Workable, we just don't really have a use for them. Those were the old football concession stand and storage shed down there that's been moved up to our building, up to our property 6 years ago and been sitting there. There's nothing wrong with them, I don't have a need for them and they're cluttered in my front yard.
I was just going by, we had this one out here and it's packed.
I'm not sure where we could put it. That's I think our biggest issue here at City Hall.
I would like to look though, look around, making sure, because I know we've been having some storage issues before we jump on those 2 buildings, if that's okay. Can we give us, just making sure there's not an extra use for them. I'd really like to look for that.
That's fine.
Especially if they're in good condition. There's not, a lot of rotted floors or something like that in them. That's okay. If anybody has any objections.
We'll take those 2 storage sheds off then.
I just know we've been harping about storage and this one being packed out here. Or let's look and see which ones are in the best conditions. I know behind the police department there was some pretty bad, those back behind the police department, Chief. One of those I think was in pretty bad shape. I mean, can we not look at maybe rearranging some of these buildings here? And it's just a thought, because I mean, they're not really hurting anything right now until we can figure out if we can utilize those. If that's okay with everybody. And if not, we can put them back on there. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else? Is that okay with y'all? Chief, is that okay? Kind of look these over? Because that one looks like it's in a pretty good, might be bigger. We can do some rearranging up here and cleaning up anyway. Because we've all been talking about doing that anyway. All righty. Yeah, see that one? I mean, that looks like a pretty good size. Maybe go and build us some shelves or something. Anyway, let's all look at it before we jump on this. It may be something we... Okay, doke. All right, number 7. Appoint board and committee members. Let's see, we have a vacant position on the Laverne Housing Authority. And we have not received any applications.
At this point, I know there is somebody that's wanting to turn one in.
Okay.
She's going to try and turn it in by Tuesday.
Okay. All right. All right, we have the beer board, and I see Mr. Randall Henson has reapplied. But other people can apply just because people have not applied, so please apply for these boards. Then we have the Historical Preservation Advisory Committee and Ms. Carrie Smith.
I talked to Carrie about 2 weeks ago. She's in a nursing home.
Yeah.
She said go ahead and remove her off.
you know, when she's where she can, even if we have to go up there, I'd like to do a little something for her. I think that would be real nice.
She's wanting to come home, but
Yeah.
I don't know. She fell in February, and she's claimed she broke her back,
Now,
broke her
that's what
hip
I
or
heard.
back, and she's been in a nursing home ever since. But I called up her, and she answered the phone, so she's getting around with a walker, so she's doing better.
Okey-doke. All right. Next, we have the library board, and Fred Gaston and Montique Luster. Their positions will expire Saturday, and both of them said they would like to remain on this board. Okay. Okey doke. Now, as the LEPC, we have, Greg, your position is up. You want to stay on that. Of course, Phyllis, Victor, and at this point in your public works, do you want to make other arrangements? Just let us know.
Okay.
That was gonna be my question to him too.
Yeah,
If
just
that's who
let
you
us
wanted to
know Tuesday night who you want from Public Works to stay on there with you. Okey-doke. We also have one term in the Stormwater Appeals and Advisory Board. The term of Mr. Thomas McCormick will expire December 31st. Mr. McCormick did a wonderful job while he was on this board, but he no longer lives inside of the city limits of Laverne. Not only that, he has moved to Portland. So we don't feel that that's appropriate, being from Portland and being on the City of Laverne Stormwater Board. So kind of put the word out. We need somebody, and this board meets once a year, or as needed. When construction starts, we might meet 2 or 3 times, but as a rule, we meet 1 time a year. And we do a lot of our stormwater discussions. If there's anything with stormwater, we have that meeting, bringing us up to date on current rules and regulations, or if anyone has anything to bring before that board. But we do, it's just once a year, so, you know, that's not a bad board, but it's a lot of good information.
And we're actually going to have a workshop scheduled this year in the early part of the year. I think it's March. And then have the mandatory meeting. I think it moved to September this year.
Did it?
So
Okay.
we're actually going to have two
Good.
times this year.
Okay. All right. Anybody have any questions on any of these? Any questions? All right, number 8, motion to approve or reject a lawsuit settlement offer. We will be holding a executive session at 6 o'clock on Tuesday night for our attorneys to bring us up to speed on what lawsuit this is. I think it's been around for 2 or 3 years.
It's the Jason Hawley versus the city case, and I don't know all the details, but there will be the closed executive session Tuesday at 6 o'clock with the attorneys from TML, and I'm sure Evan will probably be here for that as well. And they'll update you on the case. There's been an offer for settlement. I'm not aware of what those terms are, but we'll
None
go
of
over
us
that.
know.
And then at the meeting itself, you'll have to either approve or reject that settlement offer.
So 6 o'clock executive session with our attorney.
Bruce, when is this date? When is this from? Do we know?
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the details of this case.
We don't know which one it is.
I'd say it's probably 2 or 3 years old at least, if I had to guess.
All right. Number 9, discussion, Tower Cove, first right of refusal agreement, and I don't think Evan is quite ready with this one.
Correct.
Okay. So we probably won't have it on there Tuesday night. We won't have it on there. What they're wanting to do is pay so much and
They want us to give them the first right if we get an offer from a third party.
Right.
They want to give us, they want basically want a counter offer, and they're willing to pay us a couple $1,000s for that right. them was to go back and counteroffer on that.
Yeah, so they're still working on that, so that won't be on there either. All right, number 10. Discussion grinder pump repair and training center.
I'll give you guys some reading material for over the weekend. We'll talk to you about another cost-saving project we've got in mind for Public Works. I have some extra copies if anybody else wants one when I'm done. I'm not going to read this word for word. I promise this is going to be 5 minutes or less. You helped us a couple of months ago by approving a move away from Barnes pumps to E1 pumps out of Wascon at significantly reduced expense to the city. 2, we instituted, as you well know, a 2-shift staffing model in sewer to do away with overtime expense by and large. So this is another idea here on the second page. The long story short is what it's going to require is us to spend about $12,000 to save over 15 in less than 10 months, and then that expense going forward. That expense is represented by the labor component at Wascon. Their folks repairing our pumps. What we want to do is what, for instance, you see a paragraph starting as a working example there, about halfway down the page. Tullahoma Utility Board uses their own employees to service grinder pumps. They had several hundred in the ground like we do. So instead of paying Wascon to do the labor, we want to keep parts on the shelf and do the labor with our own crews, okay? So the payback is relatively quickly, and the only thing that I would really choose to accentuate here on this page, and you can read over the weekend, is the benefits. We can train our personnel on proper service call procedures, and that goes to customer service. We need to improve customer service. Customer education opportunities. As we interface with customers, we don't typically take that opportunity or that advantage that we have to give them, say, a door hanger card that says this is the proper use of a grinder pump and system, okay? Increases in operator aptitude. What I want to do there is raise the bar in competence in my department, and this is going to help us do that by putting technical goals out there in front of them where they have to execute and perform to every day. Low-cost pump repair techniques. Of course, we're going to take that labor charge out of Wascon, perform it internally, and give savings back to the city. Confined space entry awareness and focus on related safety issues. There's certainly some electrical issues we'll have to deal with. The $12,000 I'm asking for is going to construct a repair center and a training center at the existing Public Works facility. If you look at the back page, there's a simple picture of a 6-bay pole barn on the grounds, and the bay to the far left has a room in the back of it, and this room is going to be where we do the lion's share of this repair and testing, okay? So there again, it's going to require a little cash up front, but it's going to pay back very, very quickly. It's going to raise the bar on our guys, and it's going to help us go all the way down to, you know, meeting our internal code spec books. We work with Kyle's group on making sure that we're going to do this right. We're going to use internal labor to construct the facility, to lay out the work cell, and to optimize it as we go forward, and our guys are pretty stoked about it as an internal opportunity. So if you would chew on this over the weekend, it's going to cost us about $12K up front, but there again, it's going to save 15 in just 10 months, and then all of that labor expense across grinder pumps going forward.
And the $12,000 will come out of Public Works?
Yes, sir.
Come out of y'all budget?
Absolutely.
And the money's in there?
It is in there. Any questions? Thank you so much.
Good job. Thank you. Do look this over, read. May have a few questions prior to the vote on this, Greg. I said they may have a few questions prior to the vote. Okay. So kind of read over. Look all this over. All right. Number 11, discussion, planning retreat, January 13th and 14th. Alderman Broker.
Yes, ma'am. Like we said at the end of the last meeting, we have our retreat this year planned at the Chamber of Commerce building, same place where we had it last year. If you look in your, well, it's on the screen or any package that you may have, Bruce has set up a schedule. It's very similar to what we did last year. I believe, Bruce, you're going to, staff meeting, you're going to get with the various department heads. If you feel you need more time or less time, you know, we certainly don't want to short anybody. This will be the first step in going into our budget process. I think this year will be a little bit easier because we've laid out our 5-year plan. But there may be some things we need to move up or move back or again, this year's needs. It is open. It will be posted. It is open to the public. Certainly, we want people to know what's happening. Again, last year there were a lot of questions on why and why are we purchasing different things. Or again, it should be a first opportunity to learn what is going on in the various departments. And if you look on Friday, there is a reception we had last year from 6 to 8. There was a lot of discrepancy last year who was invited. Again, I'd like to clear it up right here, but I would like to see any city employee that would like to come and be part of this to by all means come do that. And again, that's basically it. If you need more time or if you need any direction on it, please contact myself or Bruce or anyone.
I think it's good, and we're looking forward to, in January, here's our thoughts. Actually, we're just now getting ready to go into this budget because the tax dollars are starting to come in, so you're just actually starting to get into this year's budget. By then, you're seeing what you're going to be able to kind of accomplish. Not only we want to plan, we want to hear your accomplishments too. So you can honestly say, this is what we've gotten started, or this is what we finished. We've finished some projects that we've had on the books forever. So it's also, you know, a time to discuss that as well. This is our first step, kind of reworking, like he said, on the 5-year plan. We do have some new directors in different departments that might want to relook at that 5-year plan in their department. And then what we thought, we're going to get all this together like we did last year. And then right before we go into budget, we thought we might have like a breakfast maybe down here at the multipurpose, maybe on a Saturday where people are coming in right before the budget saying, there's one more thing I'd like to change here. This has occurred. This has happened. I've got to change this. And also discuss what we've accomplished from January to right before we go into the budget. Things that were finished between those time frames. And then we're ready. When we walk into the budget, y'all have got your plan, and we've seen what we've done. We've seen what didn't get accomplished, that we've moved or whatever. So that's our thought process on this. So you get 2 different chances right before budget to really look over everything, and let's really tweak it, fine-tune it as best we can right before we go into the budget hearings.
Mayor, there's one more. If you look at the very second to last, we didn't do this last year, and I don't know that we have to have a presentation, but if you look at 2:30 to 3 on Saturday, it's a time for us to review. We don't have a lot of opportunities because of sunshine law to go over this. Hey, I like this, I don't like that.
Exactly.
So we put in 30 minutes for the board. Also, it's a time where if you do have again, maybe you want to see, I'd like to see us move in this direction. It's a time where we as a board can do that. So I thought that was important this year.
I think so too. Yeah, we discussed that last year, that we didn't feel like we got to kind of wrap up and everything we wanted to wrap up because we never thought to put us some time in there. So I think that's really good. And like I said, if y'all have anything, let Bruce know. We can slide it in. If we need more time, less time, just let us know. We'll get this all kind of tweaked right before then. Okay. Any comments? Go ahead. Yes, absolutely.
One of the things I did last year was stay for the whole place. And I lived here over 7 years. I learned more about things within the city of Vergne from the various departments, listening and watching the presentations and questions. So I would encourage you, if you can, be there for as much of that as you can. You'll really get a feel for the other departments within the city and how they interact with each other, things that are very similar issues. Very worthwhile.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chief. Good points. Hey, any more comments? Any more? Wow, y'all are a quiet bunch tonight. All right, we'll go to Mayor and Alderman comments. Vice Mayor.
Wish everybody a happy new year and be safe.
Alderman Waldron.
had a good Christmas, looking for a good year. Wished everybody had a good, hope everybody had a good Christmas. Just ready to go on.
Alderman Brooker?
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't forget you this time.
It's good. Again, same things Vice Mayor said, just everyone, Happy New Year and be safe, and basically that's it.
Thanks to everybody for a great year. We've had a long year. It's been a hard year, but we've all survived it, and I think everybody's done a very good job. To the employees, thank y'all very much for the hard work and the dedication that y'all put in for this year. You're very much appreciated, and I think we're adjourned, and I'll see you in 2012. Meeting adjourned.